All right, welcome to the Sports Mashup number 77, September 14th, 2000. September 15th is actually the day that we're recording. 2022, day later this week. No big deal getting it done before the Thursday night football game. But we aren't typically a podcast that discusses tennis. But when, some of the bigger names in the game hang it up, such as Roger Federer, I think it's something that we need to note. And that is why we are noting it at the beginning because it's not written on here and I didn't want to forget.
Yeah,
So
he
shout out.
said it was time to end his career and retire.
And I'm not big into tennis at all, but there's a few names out there on either side in terms of the men's or women's that you know.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
he's one of them.
we just had what, Venus and Serena retire as double partners,
Yep.
and I think did Serena also hang it up for good as a single?
I believe so because with the way Twitter was that night when she bowed out and lost in the U.S. Open, yeah.
Yeah, and said there was no Serena without Venus.
Yeah, so I don't know when we're going to talk about tennis again, but there you go. For any people who listen to this and are into tennis, there you go. All right, the NBA is where we go next. This will be short and sweet. The referees agree to a new CBA, aka collective bargaining agreement, through 2028-29. No clue what that entails. Didn't even really know the refs had one, but there you go. I guess they have a union, so you gotta do that. So there you go. All right, the NFL week 1 in the books.
This first thing shocked me.
Well, the kicker carousel. You had Rodrigo Blankenship get cut by the Colts. He missed a chance. I believe he missed a potential game winner either in overtime or late in the fourth when they tied with Houston. So
I think it was in overtime. It was like a long 40-yarder.
Well, he had injuries last season, and he's been pretty inconsistent. And there was a lot of kicker issues in week 1.
But I mean, this guy was this guy who came out of Georgia, carried them like his rookie year. It was like right after they lost Finateri, they bring in Rodrigo. Everyone like, man, who's this guy with glasses? Starts murdering balls, and then has one bad week to start the year. Oh, you're out of here. We already lost our punter too. Let's just get a whole new kicking room.
Well, I want to see his stats from last year because I feel like he struggled last year. It's not. I mean, the kicker situation in the NFL has been pretty disastrous the last few years. Yeah, he wasn't great last year. Didn't do much because he only played 5 games.
Yeah,
Definitely surprising.
Was it he got hurt early in the year?
Yeah,
and was out the rest.
I believe so. So yeah, I mean the Colts needed a scapegoat for the fact that they struggled and had to come back from down 2 touchdowns to be able to go to overtime against the Texans, who were supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league, and they tie.
Yeah, because the only guy he seemed to complete a ball to was Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah,
who I just happened to be going against.
Not great.
And then the Ravens. This happened right before Thursday night's game last week. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson failed to make a contract agreement.
Not surprising to me.
So basically, he's playing on the last year of his rookie deal, I believe.
Yep. So we're going to see betting on himself. I mean, I don't blame him for it. We'll see if it works out. I mean, it's working out in baseball with Aaron Judge. So who knows? All right, let's review week 1.
Thursday night football, Bills throttle the Rams. And then after the game, McVay says Cam Akers needs to maximize his snaps. I don't think he even was on the field in the first half.
Well, but coming back from injury, I know he's played a little bit last season, but still.
The Bills looked really good.
Yeah, I went into that game thinking the Bills are a better team. They're going to win. But I didn't expect Stafford to be as bad as he was.
No.
And maybe a bit of a Super Bowl hangover. I think their entire defense struggled outside of Aaron Donald. So
I also think people don't realize that the Rams is not the same defense as it was last year.
No, you lose Von Miller, and if you're not getting anything from Leonard Floyd, kind of hurts Aaron Donald in terms of teams not really being afraid of the options outside of him. So
You
it's a bit
also
of a problem.
lost a strong, I don't know what you want to call him, and a veteran in the back end, and Eric Weddle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a key piece down the stretch for them. You lose him out of the defensive back room, where I'm guessing he was more of their voice. Hey, I've seen about everything they can do. And I don't even know who their safety is now.
Well, I'll say this. It's pretty clear that on the offensive side of the ball, Matthew Stafford had a lot better relationship and chemistry with Odell Beckham Jr. over Allen Robinson, but that could change. But it doesn't seem like Stafford really wants to throw it to anybody other than Kupp, which
No.
can be an issue if, you're facing a good corner or you're in a situation where you need to use more guys in the offense. And Stafford didn't do that, and he was brutal. So,
And I think Pat McAfee said it best. This game showed like Josh Allen, all his interviews and everything's all happy, smiling, everything. This game, he showed that Josh Allen is a dog.
fair to say.
I mean, teabagging Jalen Ramsey, stiff arming Jalen Ramsey.
Josh Allen, there's a reason people believe he's going to win MVP, and that goes into it. I'm not going to completely overreact to week one, but pretty good.
Oh, I didn't see you move these lilies around. Then you had the Saints-Falcons game. Will Lutz kicked a 51-yard field goal with 51 seconds left.
Falcons completely controlled this game. And then the Saints came alive late and ended up winning. I mean, the one kicker to really make a clutch kick on his first try, other than, I guess, Cade York, was Will Lutz. So,
I mean, to be fair, Young Ho Koo's kick was from a mile.
yeah. But the Falcons choked, and I think people realized that the Falcons are not going to be that good this year. I don't think the Saints are going to be that good either.
No, I think this game showed that the Falcons are going to be better than
they'll be better.
They thought. Like, Mariota looked pretty good. But then also Cordero Patterson still being their number one back. They lost Damian William got hurt, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
And they had scratched Allgaier.
Yeah.
Drake London had a good first game. I don't know if Kyle Pitts really did anything. But yeah, I was between Terry McLaurin, Mike Thomas, and Russell Gage. And I'm thinking, Chris Godwin's probably not going to play much. I'm going to put Russell Gage in because I don't trust Carson Wentz. Terry McLaurin and Mike Thomas both have into third, fourth quarter touchdowns. Mike Thomas has 2. And that's what brought the Saints back.
Yeah.
I mean, because Jameis Winston looked horrid. And then Kamara, bruised ribs, which they barely used him in the first half. I think he only had 3 carries in the first half and only 9 for the game. Steelers-Bengals. Steelers 23, Bengals 20 in overtime. TJ Watt, they said he may have torn his pec, but now they're coming out and saying no surgery needed, only out 6 weeks. I thought he was going to be out for the year.
Yeah, this game was a shit show. Burrow was terrible. The Bengals gave the ball away 5 times. Steelers still barely won and kind of got away with it with how many kicks Boswell was missing, and then they go into overtime and they keep missing. And, this game was, a disaster. They were an Evan McPherson extra point away from losing. So I don't have a very strong belief in the Steelers. And the Bengals, I think they'll be fine, just a bad game.
I thought Trubisky at least looked good.
Yeah, he looks solid.
Like he managed the game.
He did his job, and without Watt, it's going to be pretty tough for that defense to do very much.
Yeah, because you lost Bud Dupree to free agency over the summer, so now you just have Cam Hayward in the middle.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase did flip off Minka Fitzpatrick.
I saw that. Interesting.
I mean, we were watching Red Zone, and it seemed like every time they brought this game up, it was Jamar Chase catching the ball.
Yep.
They did lose. The Bengals did lose T. Higgins in the middle of this game to a concussion. Dolphins, Patriots. Dolphins 20, Patriots 7. Mac Jones suffered a back injury in the game, but tests showed afterwards that things are normal.
This is a very unsurprising game to me, just because the Patriots do not play well in Miami or against Miami, at least the last few years, and kind of an expected result. Good start for Tua with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, so we'll see what the Dolphins are, but I just think the Bills are so much better than anybody in that division.
Yeah. Commanders come back and beat the Jags 28-22. This was probably the most underrated game in the second half. Like first half, it was a snooze fest. Second half, offense, like it was just going.
Yeah, well, I have a couple takeaways. Number one, Carson Wentz is terrible. He's still terrible. Like that interception that he threw to Trayvon Walker from like 2 feet away is like the most Carson Wentz play ever.
Yeah.
And
but yet he throws 2 deep ball dimes to Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, and he threw a nice one to McLaurin as well. My other takeaway is that I think Curtis Samuel might be good this year for them. He looked really good in the first half, not so much in the second half, but signed a contract last year, got hurt, looked pretty good to me. He stood out. And Trevor Lawrence, not there yet. And also James Robinson should still be used a little bit more than he has been.
I think it opens up Curtis Robinson having Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, it helps. And he's helping.
And Carolina, it was Robbie Anderson and him.
Yeah. And, the health factor is big as well.
Colts, Texans, 20-20, ending a tie in overtime. I wrote Texans, I think, shocked the world that they even tied this game.
Well, I'll say this. I think Davis Mills is still better than people give him credit for. And it's going to take a little bit for the Colts with Matt Ryan. So that's kind of my takeaway. Not really concerned about the Colts that much because the Titans look just as bad, if not worse. So
no, Matt Ryan just needs to throw the ball to somebody else other than Michael Pittman, or people are just going to key on him.
Yep.
I don't even know if any of the time they had the ball like inside the 20, if they even threw the ball to Mo Alley Cox.
I don't recall it.
That other is Austin Pruitt. He looked good for the Colts.
I don't know. I wasn't even paying that much attention to the game. Being honest.
Vikings 23, Packers 7. Justin Jefferson does what Justin Jefferson does. Every time it cut to this game, it was also him getting a catch.
Yeah, the Packers' plan was bad. They played a lot of zone. They didn't let Jair Alexander just shadow Jefferson in the 2 plays where you saw that happen, where they targeted Jefferson, offensive pass interference, and a pass breakup. So the plan was bad. They didn't have the right coverage. They were doomed from the start. I just think that as long as the Packers win Sunday, we can kind of just say what week 1 is for them, which is a game where they're probably not going to win and they're going to look bad, because the same thing happened last year. As long as they can fix that with a week 2 victory, I think that changes things. I'm not that concerned. I will say the game is probably different if Christian Watson catches that first pass.
Yeah, I feel like their run defense looked good.
Their defense overall, other than the busted coverage in the first half for Jefferson, I thought looked faster, looked sharper. Like Quay Walker was mauling guys before he got hurt.
Like, I mean, they held Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Madison broke a couple decent runs, but.
Well, you have Kenny Clark, you have Jaron Reed, and you have Devontae Wyatt in the middle now. It's much better, much fat. Like their defense overall in the secondary, it wasn't that noticeable in the game just because they were getting burnt for most of it. But like the linebackers are faster. You can just tell the defense is better. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of that with a little bit more success on Sunday night, if I had to guess.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys got the guy that the Bucks were like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're passing on this guy, but we'll just give him to Green Bay.
Yeah.
And then the Chargers 24, Raiders 19. Carr struggled to throw the ball to anybody not named Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I think this shows, and we'll probably see it tonight. I think Herbert is going to make another big step this season. I don't know about the Raiders' offense. Kind of looked a lot like the Packers' offense in some games where they weren't good, where just Adams gets a boatload of targets and nobody else does anything. Kind of hard to win those games, especially when you have Renfro and Waller not doing anything, not giving the chance to do anything. So
he didn't even throw the ball to Renfro till like the fourth.
Yeah, the NFC or the AFC West has been all hype. Like everybody's so hyped up, but they forgot that the two best teams in that division by far are the ones that are playing tonight. The Raiders and the Broncos were overrated from the start. I know it's only 1 week and they'll probably both be fine and still be good, solid teams, but the Chargers and Chiefs are much better teams because they have elite, high-level quarterbacks. I don't think Russell Wilson is that anymore. I think Derek Carr is good but not great. I think you could say that about Wilson now too. And look at the pass rushers that the Chargers have and look at just the offense that the Chiefs have. I think that those two teams that are playing tonight are way better than the other two.
The only thing that's going to hurt the Chargers is Keenan Allen being out with his hamstring injury and how long he's going to be out.
Yeah, that'll hurt. That'll hurt. But when you have a quarterback like Herbert, I think he's going to start to elevate other guys, and I think that'll be big. All right, the Bears beat the Niners 19-10. Elijah Mitchell out at least 2 months, torn MCL. So kind of a very wet, muddy game. Pretty disastrous in the second half in terms of the weather. But this game tells me nothing about either team other than Trey Lance. I really don't know. Because when you watch him, it's like, oh, God, that arm angle is brutal. But I think there's skill and athleticism and traits there. But, man, neither of these teams is very good. I think the Niners are going to take a big step back. I think the Bears might be a little bit better than people expected, but I didn't really learn much from this game.
The conditions of this game really, I think, limited both offenses.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what is this now? At least 4 years in a row, the Niners lose their starting back week one.
I didn't know that was a thing, but sounds right.
Who was it they lost last year? Raheem Mostert they lost. The year before that it was just lost his name. But it's been like at least 3 or 4 years they've lost their starting back week one.
Yeah, it's brutal, especially when you got to play in conditions like this. Makes it even worse. Bit of an entertaining game here. Got close late. Eagles beat the Lions 38-35. They did lose Derek Barnett for the year with torn ACL. Eagles have been a bit overhyped to me. Good roster, but I don't know how good they are. But the NFC East is very much open. And the Lions, I think everybody's expected them to take a bit of a jump, maybe win 6-7 games. And not bad in this game. Their offense is pretty good, so we'll see.
I think every running back on the roster for the Eagles ran a touchdown in.
Yeah, Gainwell, Sanders,
Boston Scott.
Yeah, Boston Scott. They had a bunch of different guys score. A.J. Brown was great too, so there you go. Bit of a boring one here. Ravens beat the Jets 24-9?
Yeah.
They lost cornerback Kyle Fuller to the year with torn ACL, so that's another injury, and it's another one at MetLife Stadium, so questions continue for that. And I think the Ravens have been a little bit underrated just because people don't think that Lamar can stay healthy or something, and I just think that the Ravens are always going to be good. It's just how good, and I think that they can win this division. And I'm not going to take too much away, though, because it was the Jets, and it was the Jets with Joe Flacco.
And I mean, they only scored on all deep balls. Devin Duvernay scored twice on a deep ball, and so did Rashad Bateman.
For the Jets, they got to use Garrett Wilson more because when he had the ball early, he looked like very, very sharp, very quick, and elusive. So he's got to be used more. You used a first-round pick on him anyway. You're not going anywhere this season. You're not making the playoffs. You got to use these guys as much as you can.
Yeah, I think Mark Andrews was quiet, though, in this game for the Ravens.
Yeah. The Browns beat the Panthers 26-24. Panthers battled back, lost on a last-second field goal, an absolute bomb from Cade York, the rookie kicker out of LSU.
The only kicker that was drafted last year.
Yeah, and there's why right there. And, Baker is what Baker is. He's not that good. I mean, let's just be honest. I don't think the Panthers – I think it's going to be a two-horse race with one favorite between Mike McCarthy and Matt Rule for who gets fired first in season. And I think Rule's probably going to be the one that gets fired first.
Yeah, because McCarthy's going to have the excuse that –
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to that when we get to the Cowboys game.
But pretty much a boring game that started really slow. It took a while for teams to get going, and the Browns controlled, and the Panthers came back, and the Browns still won. So they're 1-0. I think that's their first week one victory, like in a very, very, like maybe 15, 20 years that they've won in week one.
I think we can go ahead and say it now. Did every quarterback that got traded who played their old team lose? Baker, Russell,
Flacco.
Yeah, all three lost.
Yeah. So there you go. A shocker, the Giants' aggressiveness pays off. They beat the Titans 21-20. Randy Bullock missed a game-winning field goal. And the Giants are 1-0 in the Brian Daboll era. If I had to pick, I would have picked, if you told me Jets or Giants, which one starts 1-0, I would have picked the Jets. I wouldn't have picked the Giants. If Saquon can stay healthy and play like that, I mean, we're going to start talking about, okay, maybe it wasn't the worst idea to draft a running back there.
Yeah, because I picked up the Titans defense and sat the Rams defense, which looked like it was paying out for them in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, the Giants came back. I mean, yeah, Sterling Shepard caught a bomb and broke a tackle to score.
Yeah, I mean,
Derrick Henry didn't look that great.
I don't think this means the Giants are going to be anything this year, but that's a very nice win. Chiefs destroy the Cardinals 44-21. Mahomes has 5 touchdowns. I think this might have been the quickest, okay, this game's over game of the week because it was over quickly.
Yeah, they scored on their first 3 drives?
I believe so. And then you had Butker get hurt on the kickoff and then come back and like make a bomb field goal on pretty much one leg. So you had that.
Yeah, he got hurt on their second kickoff, or their kickoff after their first touchdown. Then their safety came in, kicked an extra point.
Yeah.
Then he kicked an absolute bomb on the kickoff.
Yep. Not bad.
And then I think he missed a field goal or an extra point. And then they're like, Butker, can we take this thing up?
Yeah, and it worked. So there you go.
And I think Mahomes was like 33-38.
Yeah, it was dominated. The Cardinals are frauds. I think the entire NFC West once was a division with 4 good teams is now a division with maybe like 1.5 good teams.
I think AJ Green was non-existent.
They're frauds.
I mean, you don't know what's going to happen when they get
very interesting Cardinals-Raiders game this week. Like
when they get DeAndre Hopkins back, you don't know how that'll change their offense, but I mean, you're still not talking until week 7 for that.
Raiders Cardinals this week. Neither one of those teams wants or can afford to start out 0-2. So that'll be an interesting game. I believe it's in Vegas. Not 100% sure. Sunday Night Football. Bucks beat the Cowboys 19-3.
What was it else? Andy Reid said that the injury for one of their players was due to the Cardinals' turf.
I didn't hear about that. Not surprising.
It was in his press conference after the game. I mean, now, ever since Super Bowl, everyone's now hating on turf, which we discussed before.
Yeah. Bucks beat the Cowboys 19-3. Bit of a snooze fest on Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott had surgery Monday on injured throwing thumb. They'll have Cooper Rush start this week with Will Grier as their second.
Yeah, they brought him up off the practice squad.
This game was boring. Kind of expected. I thought the Cowboys would play a little bit better, but they're frauds, and they have been for a long time. So not that surprised. Bit surprised to see Godwin out there in terms of like playing and stuff.
Yeah,
but
he did hurt his hamstring.
Yeah. And I did read that neither him, Evans, or Julio practiced today. So I guess that's something to watch. I think Evans
and Julio are just veteran.
Julio looked better. So
yeah.
He's in better shape.
They had him running the ball.
Yeah, I think this would be good for Julio if he can stay healthy. And boring game. And I thought Monday night was, while the score would indicate that it might have been a bit boring, the Broncos lose to the Seahawks 17-16. Broncos missed on 2 drives from the 1-yard line. And I thought it was it 2 or 3? Because they had the fumble. I guess they got their third time they were like inside the 5 and they got backed up and then didn't score a touchdown. So yeah, they were really bad inside the red zone. They had the weird decision to kick the huge field goal and miss rather than going for it.
Well,
so that was odd.
Having that play stop with over a minute left and then not calling a timeout until 20 seconds was left on the clock, which kind of, I think, forced the field goal.
Bizarre, yeah.
Like if you had all 3 timeouts, you call your first timeout with a minute left and go for it on 4th and 9. It's a little different than waiting until there's 20 seconds left, which on the Manning cast, it was the Mannings and Shannon Sharp, so they were all going nuts about it.
Yeah, and then you also had the Jamal Adams injury. He will be out for the rest of the year. That trade continues to look better for the Jets. And the Seahawks get a surprising win. Geno Smith looked good, so we'll see where this goes for them. And now we shift over.
Well, how'd you do in your fantasy?
I'm in 2 leagues. I won both of my games. I had Javonte Williams. I needed like 11 points from him, and he got to 11, and then he went back down to 9 after he fumbled. So I was like, okay, if he doesn't get this, I'm going to be very annoyed. But I ended up winning by 10 in that league. In the other league, I won handily with, bad week from Rodgers. I still won by double digits. So, yeah, I won both of my games.
Yeah, I won by 23. I mean, Mahomes helped me. And then he also had Cole Kmet, who had 0 points.
Well,
I could have won by like 50 if I would have put Michael Thomas in over Russell Gage.
Mahomes is going to score a lot this year. I think that was on display. We'll see tonight. I think he might not have the same production tonight as he did on Sunday, but regardless.
Yeah, he's not going to get 34.9, but he's still going to get 20.
Probably, yes. All right. Let's go over to golf.
As we're speaking, day 1 has started on the Fortinet Championship. Once again, defending champion Max Homa at the Silverado Resort and Spa on the North Course in Napa, California.
Yeah, we will not have picks for this, but I hope Max wins and defends his title. So there you go. So while everybody's getting ready for Sunday Night Football at Lambeau, Max is going to win another golf tournament. Nobody's paying attention. Just like last year when he won this, it was the Chiefs-Ravens Sunday night game. And once again, Max wins a golf tournament when nobody's paying attention. That's what we love about Max. So there you go. All right. Shall we go over to Major League Baseball now?
Yeah, you had veteran pitcher Edwin Jackson retired last Friday on his 39th birthday and the 19th anniversary of his MLB debut. He was a journeyman. He pitched for 14 teams.
A legend on the 2011 Cardinals, so there you go.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he played for 14 teams.
I knew it was up there. He'd been traded a ton, too, so.
I think he was drafted by the White Sox is where he started. No, he pitched for the Cubs and Cards. Or no, he's drafted by the Dodgers. That's where he started. But then I think he pitched for both Chicago teams, the Cardinals.
Yeah, he was out there.
I think he was on the Mets at one point too. Pujols hits his 697th home run Sunday versus Pittsburgh to pass A-Rod for 4th all time.
Yeah, he's got about 20 games to play with, 19 games to play with to hit 3 more. Hopefully he can do it, but either way, I think a great goal this year would have been passing A-Rod to get to 4th, and he has done that.
Yeah, he stands behind Bonds at 762, Hank Aaron at 755, and Babe Ruth at 714.
We'll see if he gets to 700.
I would be
close.
I wish he could play one more year just to pass Babe Ruth. He's not getting to Hank Aaron.
No.
But it'd be, he's sitting second in like total bases. He's now at like, what was it, 2,200.
And he's up there in RBIs too. I don't know where he's at in RBIs, but he's up there.
Yeah, he's second player in MLB history to reach 2,200 hits. Hank Aaron has 2,297.
And he's also at 2,200 RBIs, which is 3rd all time. 15 RBIs away from passing Babe Ruth, but that probably won't happen. Either way, pretty good company. So, yeah, it's been a great season. The Rockies, C.J. Cron hits a 504-foot home run against the D-backs on Friday's second longest in the StatCast era. It's been a good year for Cron in Colorado, so
it was a bomb.
Big time. Then you had Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina break the battery mate record to stand alone at 325 starts together. That is a record that will never be broken.
No, I think the most current one's at 105.
And I don't think we're going to have very many pitchers that get to 325 starts in their career at this point, just because guys aren't starting 30-plus games a year anymore for the most part. And we're talking 30-plus games a year for like 9 or 10 years, which is hard to do.
Yeah,
and with the same guy.
Yeah, nor are they staying with the same team.
Right. Yeah,
like Yachty got called up in 04, Waino got called up in 05, but Wainwright didn't become a starter until
07?
2007. So, these guys had 15 years to do this.
Yeah, 14 if you include Wainwright. 2011 didn't pitch at all. So less time there. But either way, this is an unbreakable record, no doubt. So
players of the week.
I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman, who's kind of gotten his way into being first in the NL in average by like 5 or 6 points now. 10 for 21, 476 average, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 1524 OPS. Just a really good season for Freeman. The power numbers haven't been there for first baseman for what you'd like, but he's batting .330 and he's driven in a lot of runs. He's been very consistent and solid for the Dodgers, and the Braves have been fine without him. So,
yeah. I was going to go with Minnesota's Luis Arraez, but I went with the Angels center fielder Mike Trout. Coming back off his injury, he's been playing well. 6 for 19, 4 runs, 1 double, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 2 walks. And still with his timeout, he's tied 4th in home runs at 35.
I was going to say there's a good chance that he finishes like 2nd in home runs this year.
Even with the time he missed.
Yeah. And the Angels are about to finish under 500 for the 7th year in a row. Longest streak in baseball. So great job, guys. All right. NHL, quick one here. The Blues re-signed Jordan Kyrou forward, had 75 points in 74 games last season, was an all-star, 24 years old, I believe. 8-year deal worth $8.125 million per season, the exact same deal that they gave center Robert Thomas just a month ago. So, yeah, get it done, lock them up. I'm a fan of the deal.
All right. We got college football top 25.
Yep. Number 1, Georgia moves up to number 1, rightfully so. Bama wins, but they drop to number 2. Ohio State is 3. Michigan is 4. Clemson is 5.
Oklahoma goes up 1-6. USC goes up 3-7. Oklahoma State goes up 3-8. Kentucky goes up 11 to number 9. Arkansas up 6-10.
Yeah, Michigan State up 3-11. BYU beat Baylor. They're up 9-12. Miami, bit of struggles early, but they ended up winning. They go up 2-13. Utah drops 1-14, and Tennessee beats Pitt, goes up 9-15.
Yeah, we keep questioning BYU and how they were the underdog, or they were the favorite against who?
Baylor.
Yeah, who was the number 9 team, and
well, BYU is going to get smoked this week, but we'll get to
that. NC State goes up 2-16. Baylor dropped 8-17. Florida dropped 6-18. Wake Forest up 4-19. Ole Miss up 2-20.
Texas loses, but they go up to 21 after an impressive performance against Alabama. Penn State goes from unranked to 22. Pitt drops 6-23. Texas A&M, brutal loss to App State. They drop 18-24. And Oregon goes from unranked to 25, just in time for them to smoke BYU.
What was I saw? A&M paid Appalachian State $1.2 or $1.25 million to come play them. Lost. Notre Dame pays Marshall $1.5 million to come play them and gets beat.
There's always those stories, and we saw it again.
Well, plus we're both Notre Dame haters, so
yep, that was great to see. Notre Dame, absolute frauds. If anybody thought they had a chance to get to the New Year's Six, that's over. So already done. Damn shame, really. All right, let's do the picks. Major League Baseball is where we start, but last week to talk about last week.
Yeah, last week I went 10-11, 3-2 in baseball, 5-3 in college football, and then 2-6 in the NFL. Wasn't very good in the NFL.
I went 11-10, 4-1 in baseball. Finally getting back on track there. 3-5 in college football, 4-4 in the NFL.
Well, you did better in the NFL than I did.
Yeah. All right. Major League Baseball Friday picks. Go ahead.
I got the White Sox -155 over the Tigers. The Braves -175 over the Phillies. Yankees -130 over the Brewers. Angels +135 over the Mariners. And the Dodgers -170 over the Giants. Dustin May is making the start tomorrow for the Dodgers.
All right, I'm taking the Red Sox -195 against the Royals, the Rangers +130 at the Rays, the Brewers +110 at the versus the Yankees, D-backs +135 against the Padres, and the Dodgers -170 at the Giants. All right, college football picks.
ACC. I got Florida State -120 or -2.5 over Louisville.
Taking Syracuse -1.5 against Purdue.
I thought, was Syracuse the favorite in that?
Yeah, unless I wrote it wrong.
No, I might have seen that and then was wondering because they were 1-1 and Purdue is 2-0. So
yeah,
or no, Purdue is 1-1. They lost week 1 to Penn State.
Yeah.
Big 12. I got Oklahoma -11 over Nebraska, who I guess we didn't mention also fired head coach Scott Frost.
Nebraska's a bunch of frauds. I'll take Oklahoma -11 as well.
Big 10, I got Maryland -2.5 over SMU.
I have Michigan State +3 at Washington.
Pac-12, I have Washington -3 over number 11 Michigan State.
I have USC -12.5 against Fresno State.
SEC, I have Mississippi State -2.5 over LSU.
Didn't want to take a big spread, but Georgia is so dominant. I'm taking the Bulldogs -25 at South Carolina. Start off the SEC play with a bang.
That's not as big as I saw in some. I saw one was 49.5, and I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Bama, I think Bama's 49.5.
And then our 3 primetime games. You got number 22 Penn State versus Auburn. I'm taking Penn State -3.
Yep, I'm taking Penn State -3 as well.
Then number 12 BYU versus 25 Oregon. Oregon is the favorite at 3.5.
Ducks easily.
I didn't want to, but I'm taking BYU plus 3.5.
You would be wrong, but go for it.
I mean, hey, we've been betting against them. I just had to go with them once.
Fair.
And then lastly, you got 13 Miami versus 24 Texas A&M. A&M is a 6-point favorite. I am taking Miami +6.
I'm going to take A&M. They got to be annoyed after last week. I think Miami's fairly fraudulent, so I'll take Texas A&M -6. All right, NFL Week 2.
Yeah, and then this week we're picking Thursday night, Sunday night, both Monday night games, and then just 4 Sunday games.
Yep.
Thursday night is Chargers at Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs -4.
I am going to take the Chargers +4.
All right, and then my 4 Sunday games, I got the Dolphins +3.5 over the Ravens, Steelers +2 over the Patriots, Panthers +2 over the Giants, and then the Lions -1 over the Commanders.
I am taking the Patriots -2 at the Steelers, taking the Lions -1 over the Commanders. I'll take the Cardinals +5.5 at the Raiders, and I will take the Colts -3.5 at the Jags.
Saturday Night Football, Bears at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 9.5-point favorite.
I will take the Bears +9.5, but I think the Packers still win.
Yes, I am taking the same and think the same because what does Aaron Rodgers do?
Owns the Bears.
Monday Night Football, first game, Titans at Bills. Bills -10 is the spread.
I'm going to take the route of the Titans are annoyed after last week, and the Bills are being so hyped up that it'll come back down to earth a little bit. I think the Bills win the game, but I'll take the Titans +10.
I'm going to take the Bills -10.
I thought about it.
Second game, Vikings at Eagles. Eagles are the 2-point favorite, though I'm taking the Vikings +2.
Yeah, me too. I think the Vikings are a better team. I don't care what anybody says. And I don't think the Eagles are going to have an answer for Jefferson. And if they do, then Thielen is still there. And I don't think the Eagles will be able to stop the run with Cook and Madison.
And Rieger also gets another week of practice with Kirk Cousins, and he's going back.
Revenge game, yeah. Revenge game. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you next Wednesday for another one, number 78. And enjoy the football this week. A lot of football coming this week, and we'll talk about it all next week. We'll see you then on the Sports Mashup.
Deuces.